here at the Dan Gable Wrestling Museum and getting ready for the national duels this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at the UNI-Dome, Cedar Falls, and got two of the experts in wrestling. I got Kent Sesker and Kyle Klingman of the Dan Gable Museum, and we're going to talk a little bit about the tournament. Go through all the divisions in the tournament. Let's start out with the women and just tell us a little bit about the women's field.
Well, first of all, I'm excited about this tournament. We've loved having it in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Hope it doesn't go away, but it looks like it might do that. But if we get to have this the last time under one roof, we're going to take it and enjoy having all the divisions at the UNI-Dome.
Certainly good having the women's freestyle division added to the national duels that they've had the last several years. Certainly brings another great element. It's great to see women competing in collegiate wrestling, and even more so that they're wrestling freestyle, so they're going to be that much more prepared for Olympic and world competitions. You've got Victoria Anthony competing for Simon Fraser, two-time junior world champion, outstanding credentials. You got Takara Montgomery coaching at Lindenwood, and a lot of good successes among those. As I went through the brackets, a lot of these teams, so for example, Missouri Baptist, NAIA school that also has women's wrestling, have a combined coaching staff where Coach Jackson actually coaches both of the teams. So I think it's a good thing that we're getting more and more women's programs started. We're excited the fact that Waldorf now has women's wrestling, first college team in Iowa to kick off a program.
Right, and also Oklahoma City bringing a strong team led by, believe it or not, Christy Morano Davis, two-time world champion on the senior level, who made a world team, made her 10th world team last year. So some real star power in that women's division. Let's jump over to let's go to NAIA now. And Notre Dame had a great season last year, and then they're the number one seed going to the NAIA. Guys, just talk a little bit about the NAIA.
Coach Frank Romano, Notre Dame College, fantastic job. Last year they dominated the national duels and they dominated the NAIA national tournament. And I believe when I spoke with him early in the season, I think he said they only lost one or two starters off of last year's team. So they are definitely the team to beat, and they'll be coming in to the national duels with a lot of swagger and a lot of confidence. One team that's really on the rise, Grandview University out of Des Moines. Coach Nick Mitchell, former three-time All-American at Wartburg College, has done a terrific job with that program. Just their third year in existence as a wrestling program, and they placed in the top 10 in the nation their first two seasons, and they're currently ranked, or I'm not sure what their ranking is, but they're seeded third in the national duels, and look for the Vikings of Grandview University to do nothing but get better.
And I'm still buzzing from the Southern Oregon Lindenwood tie, where they came down to the last match and went to criteria a couple years ago. So NAIA has always been a good division, and I think it's an exciting division because a lot of times you don't know what's going to happen, and a lot of times this is the first dual meet that some of these teams have. I know that Lindenwood, they don't carry a big dual meet schedule, so it's always fun to see these teams in this type of format, and Southern Oregon is always competitive, and a lot of good teams in this field for NAIA.
Moving over to the junior college ranks now, and Iowa Central's obviously been a powerhouse, and Harper's had great success. Just kind of handicapped the junior college field.
Well, you see Harper coming in as the number one seed. They went on an incredible run last year in Des Moines at the National Junior College Tournament. Basically came out of nowhere and won the title. The first time a non-scholarship junior college team has won the national title. And they did it in convincing fashion. They came at a lot of come from behind pins, and as a prime example of a team getting on a roll and running with it. Of course, Iowa Central had won the four previous titles going into that particular year, and they did win the scholarship division portion of it, if you will, but Harper College was ultimately the National Junior College champions. And as you can see by their number one seed, that they're looking very strong again this year. Coach Joe Renfro at Labette College always has a strong team. His kids always compete hard. So look for them to do some damage as well. Iowa Central's a little younger than they've been in the past, but Moffitt and Troy Bennett always do a terrific job of getting those kids motivated and getting them ready. The JUCO's got some good competition. Clackamas will be here. They're always tough. Northwest College out of Wyoming is always good. Iowa Lakes is the 7th seed. So Colby's the 8th seed, and they're generally a very strong team as well. So look for some real good competition out of all 8 teams in the junior college division.
And with junior college, I think one of the things that's deceiving about the seedings is that a lot of these good kids come in second semester, so you see these seedings, you don't know what a lot of times these junior college teams have, and that's what's fun about this. It's going to be one of your first second semester competitions that you're going to get, so you're going to see your best competitors coming into the national duels.
Right, it's a great opportunity for individual matchups too, heading into the national tournament, because this is, for a lot of these schools, this is the only time you're going to see some of the other kids on a national level.
Yeah, junior college isn't a heavy dual meet field either. They don't carry a lot of dual meets, so this is a good chance for some of these teams from around the country to see each other, and it's good for going into the junior college and having that base of competition going in.
Right. Let's move over to Division III. Augsburg, Wartburg. Seems like every year they're in the finals, but there's some other teams in Division III that have come up and made some noise.
I have no doubt that it's going to be Augsburg against Wartburg. Wartburg hasn't won a dual meet against Augsburg for the last 4 meetings, although Wartburg won it 2 years ago. Augsburg won the NCAA tournament last year and the national duels, and has actually won the last 2 national duels, but they're always close. And I have no doubt it's going to be Augsburg and Wartburg in the finals. They're seeded number 1 and 2. Wartburg did lose to St. John's, but it came on kind of a controversial call there with the heavyweight match, and gave up 9 points that way, and Wartburg was going to win that match because they're favored. So I'm sure they'd like another crack at St. John's at some point. But for me, I have no doubt it's going to be Augsburg and Wartburg in the finals.
If Heidelberg happens to upset Wartburg in the first round, I'm taking Heidelberg to run the table. Number 15, Heidelberg. So again, it's been the battle of the Bergs in Division III for many years. I believe 16 consecutive NCAA championships have been won between the two schools, 9 for Augsburg and 7 for Wartburg. 2 outstanding programs. Mark Matzik has done a terrific job taking over for Jeff Swenson. Of course, we all know legendary Jim Miller at Wartburg has done a phenomenal job there. Don't discount St. John's. Again, as you mentioned, Kyle, they did defeat Wartburg out at the Desert Duels, but again, that was based upon Wartburg heavyweight John Helgerson getting disqualified for a slam. Head coach Brandon Novak has done a terrific job with that program, and they're a team to be reckoned with. You've also got Co-College in the 5-hole, Lacrosse as the 4 seed. Those teams are very dangerous. So look for some great battles in Division III, just like there are every year.
And talk a little bit about Wartburg. They had a great performance at the Midlands. A number of guys doing really well over there.
Terrific job by their 2 entries at the Midlands Championships. Byron Tate, defending NCAA Division III champion, 197 pounds. Only a junior, won his title last year as a sophomore, went into the Midlands undefeated, was actually the 4 seed, came in with a lot of respect, and got his way into the finals, and lost a tough match, 5-4. He lost on a minute and 9 worth of riding time. It's a match I felt should have went into overtime. But Tate was right there, had a terrific tournament. And their heavyweight, John Helgerson, he beat 2 Iowa State heavyweights, and he beat Christian Brantley from UNI, and placed higher than Blake Raising from Iowa, so essentially proved himself as the best heavyweight in the state, if you will, as far as college wrestling in the state of Iowa. But when you go to the Midlands, whether it's a Division II, Division III, NAIA, take 2 kids and get a 2nd and a 5th, that's a pretty good performance.
And St. John's and Wartburg are on the same side of the bracket, number 2 and 3, so they should meet in the semifinals. So I'm intrigued by that matchup in the semis if that happens and materializes, St. John's against Wartburg.
Moving now to Division II, and obviously Nebraska Omaha has been the top team. They've pretty much dominated the Division II level the last few years. Number 1 ranked, number 1 seed. Interesting, St. Cloud State has moved up to number 2, Augustana 3, Western State 4. So you got some new teams in there making a move, making a push in Division II.
For me, the first thing that I think of with Division II is Jim McCoskey. He always comes with his bald head, his cue ball head. And I can't wait to see it. He always has some sort of crack. He's makes some colorful comment every year, so I can't wait to see what that's going to be this year. But they're the 6th seed, so if I'm favoring them to get into the finals, no, I don't think they're going to get there. But we can count on some color from Jim McCoskey.
And Mike Denny's the best dressed coach in
no doubt about
all of
that.
wrestling.
He's the best dressed across the board, all divisions. And he wears a judo gi too occasionally.
What about, talk a little bit about St. Cloud State. Steve Costanzo moves over there after being at Dana, and Augustana has been there before, but there's some new teams there that they're making some noise.
I'm not sure if he's related to George Costanza, but Steve Costanzo's done an outstanding job at St. Cloud State. Obviously, the number 2 seed of the national duels over some traditional powers from a seeding perspective, as Kyle mentioned. Minnesota State normally right in the mix of things, and they still might make the finals. And I always like it when Minnesota State and UNO wrestle in the finals because you know the Mavericks are going to win. But St. Cloud State, they've got some really good, tough, athletic kids, and we'll see if they're able to uphold that 2 seed or possibly win the championship. A lot of great teams in Division II. Just looking through, Newberry has had a terrific run the last several years. Basically an unknown from a few years ago. Head coach Jason Valek has done a phenomenal job getting them in the limelight of Division II and getting his kids to compete at a very high level. They come in as the 5 seed. Our Peacocks from Upper Iowa, Coach Heath Grimm has done a terrific job with them. They placed 3rd in the nation last year, brought home a trophy. They lost a few key wrestlers from last year's team, but they'll certainly be very competitive in this team in this tournament as well as throughout the year. So nice variety of teams. San Francisco State, Central Oklahoma, Pembroke, Limestone. I think it shapes up to be a very good battle for Division II.
But I'm going Nebraska Omaha, no doubt there.
And good to see Grand Canyon getting a seed. I mean, that's a fairly new program, and they've brought in some good kids, and they've got something going down there. Let's move to Division I now. Cornell's been the consensus number 1. They did tie Penn State for the team title at the Southern Scuffle, and Oklahoma State looking very strong again. Wisconsin, the 3 seed, Minnesota 4. Boise State is 5th. They've been ranked a little bit higher in some of the polls. So, guys, let's talk a little bit about the Division I tournament.
Well, this is our first real opportunity for a lot of people to see if Cornell is as good as advertised. Certainly they have some outstanding individuals, but again, this is a dual meet format. So, your one wrestler can only score, anywhere from 3 to 6 points based upon his victories. Wisconsin, for example, has several very strong individuals, but I don't know if they have a lot of depth as far as their dual meet squad is concerned to possibly get themselves into the finals. Oklahoma State obviously has a lot of depth right now and a lot of really good kids, so they're definitely coming into this tournament feeling good about themselves. I think it's wide open. I mean, Cornell's certainly deserving of the 1 seed, and we'll see Sunday at 5 o'clock if they have earned that 1 seed.
What I like with the opening round match is that, as you mentioned, that Cornell and Penn State tied in the Southern Scuffle. Ohio State only won 1 match against Penn State in the dual meet. So if there's a predictor and an indicator, I think it's fun. Although it's not telling for the entire year, I want to see how Cornell does against Ohio State and see if they can widen that gap like Penn State did against Ohio State. Oklahoma State, I think they have a championship team again. They fell out a few years ago, placing, I think it was 16th, and came back last year and were in the top 10 again. And I'm really intrigued by the opportunity or the possibility of a Cornell against Oklahoma State. That would be the match that I would like to see.
I think another team we've got to mention is Missouri, coming fresh off that Midlands Championship tournament win. Again, an interesting win team-wise where they did not have a finalist but showed a lot of team depth. I know they're real high on their young 125-pounder that placed 3rd. Coach Brian Smith has done a terrific job. They wrestle UNI first round. Missouri is the 8th seed, and if they get past UNI, will likely wrestle Cornell in the quarterfinal bout. So Missouri, without their heavyweight Don Bradley, did win the Midlands Championship over a lot of very good teams. So you've got to give them some credit.
Kind of an interesting first round matchup too. Number 5 Boise State against, believe it or not, unseeded Iowa State, 2nd in this event last year. And, I know that's not going to be an easy duel by any means for Boise State. I know Iowa State's going to be ready to wrestle.
Very winnable for Iowa State. And seeing what Iowa State has done this year, they have some bright spots. I think that with Jerome Ward, and they have some good talent in there. They were competitive against the University of Iowa. Boise State isn't going to, they know that. They're not going to be able to come in and just walk through that. Iowa State's always competitive. They were in the finals last year, lost a lot of that senior class. But it's going to be a real good test for Iowa State to see where they are and make their final push for the NCAA tournament.
An interesting number 6 seed Oregon State, led by former Iowa coach Jim Zaleski, and I think he's got that program headed in the right direction.
Oh, definitely. I think it was a great move for Jim Zaleski after leaving Iowa, going to Oregon State. He's very well respected. He's been doing a good job with his recruits, some good junior college guys, and he's got Troy Steiner right there with him. They've been together for a lot of years, and I think Oregon State is going to do nothing but get better.
Wrapping up here, guys, just anything you want to add on this weekend? Obviously, a great weekend of wrestling. It's hard to watch it all. Just an outstanding event.
Well, we're excited to have the event here in the Cedar Valley, Waterloo, Cedar Falls area for the 6th consecutive year. 80 teams in town. It's great for our community, our environment, our economy. For the second year in a row, we're allowing all coaches and athletes that are participating in the National Duels free admission to the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Dan Gable Museum on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, January 7th, 8th, and 9th. Last year, I think we had about 18 or 19 teams come. We'd love to see more of them. They all received a letter and an email, so we certainly encourage them to take time out of their schedules. Friday usually seems to be the best day after they get their workout in and get checked into their hotels and all those things that they need to do. So we will be open from 9 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock on Friday, so please take advantage of and see what we have in our fantastic facility.
And I think it's good to make predictions here. I'm going with Oklahoma State because they've been there before. They know how to win the tournament. I think Cornell will make the finals, but I'm actually going with Oklahoma State.
Ken?
Whoa, put me on the spot. I'm going to take Oklahoma State also. I will also take Nebraska Omaha in Division 2. I'll take Wartburg in Division 3. I'll take Notre Dame in NAIA. I'll take Labette in the junior college, and I will take Lindenwood in the women's.
You want me to go through too?
Sure,
I already said Nebraska Omaha. I'm actually going with Wartburg. I just think they have a good enough team, and I've seen what they've been able to do. I think St. John's was an aberration. I don't think that's indicative of how good Wartburg is, and based on what they did at the Midlands, I think they're hot right now. And Lindenwood for the women, I don't know as much about that, so I'm going to go with Kent's professional expertise on that. I think Harper will win the junior college, and what else do I have left? Notre Dame. So I think I'm pretty much dead on with Kent on that one.
Good stuff, guys. We appreciate it, and we'll see you around this weekend.
Thank you.